beyond. Go beyond. Go beyond the game.
Hello, quick update because turns out that I wasn't able to finish those videos before the ETC, so at the time posting them afterwards, I'm gonna be going through the videos for the prep for ETC, and then I'm planning to go through the videos on the what happened during the ETC my game. Some of them I got recorded fully, some of them there were technical difficulties that happened, so I'll do my best to recreate what happened during each game and who do we play. Hello and welcome to another episode of Dingus Hammer. This time we're gonna do it a little bit differently because I'm in hurry. I want to do all those videos before I'll have to start getting going for my flight. And I want to upload them with later on release. So I'm gonna be doing it straight from the recording. It's the second game against Jolo. You can find those lists. Maybe I'll attach them. We'll see how I'm gonna edit the video, but you can find them on New Recruit at FTC. This is I'm Jaff. This is my Ogre list, and this is Slovenia's Empire. So this is a second attempt against this list. The first one ended up with a disaster, and I learned my mistakes. And I played on this map in the club also a couple of times. Decided that I don't like the top side. I decided that the top side is just it's hard to play. So this time I chose bottom side, Jolo chose top, and deployed, of course, all out. And here is how he deployed: steam tank, wizard, sword guys, crossbows, imperial guard, militia. Actually, let me just make sure that he's done now. He's redeploying actually. Okay, so let's move the video forward to after he's done deploying. All right. So he is done deploying. Oh, come on. Here. So he redeploys stuff. Steam tanks, sword and boards, crossbows, militia, imperial guard of both characters, sword and board, both buff wagons, crossbows, cannon. Because cannon was over here because I thought that he was thinking for the cover. If you're unsure how it works, look at the FAQ. You don't get the cover from shooting most of the time, unless you'll be shooting like from over here at the cannon. Flagellants and the calf unit. And so I look at this deployment and I was like, I'll take the left side. I'm taking the field. I'm moving away from those flagellants. I'm moving away from those cavalry. Those are hard for me to deal with. I'm gonna try to deal with his left flank. And he has a wall over here, and I thought that he'll go move his Imperial Guard to defend the wall. So I couldn't do this. I couldn't put the tribesmen on the left side because I would be fighting at the wall and having distracting hard target, and then his buff wagon and all that. It's like no, I don't want to do that. And I managed to be shooting. So I put the tribesmen over here. I decided that I'll be using the bruisers to threaten this while threatening tribesmen to flank charge. In the retrospect, since he has buff wagon in the way for distracting, if I won't be able to kill it, it won't matter. So maybe this was not the greatest idea, but at this point I thought that it might, if I can shut off his arcane shield, him not being able to defend the wall might matter actually a lot. So I deployed like that. Let's move farther along until. Okay, so I'm moving the wrong direction. Here we are. I'm the scout vanguard that put the DT on the wall and move back with my scraplings. I have a cannon, catapult, bombardiers, my Death Star, two chaff units, catapult, bombardiers, cannon, tribesmen. I'm putting those scraplings over here for soft cover for shooting at these guys because he can move up and shoot. And I couldn't, if I wanted to have a battle flaming sword option, I couldn't put them too far behind. So here we are. Oh. I don't know how far it moves, but he moves up, and he decided to march up because secondary is over here. I'm already giving it up because I have still time to challenge it. I have to challenge it, make sure that I start getting it by turn 4. If I want to win it, so 4, 5, 6, I can still win it. But so I still have time. I don't have to rush up. So he moves everything up. And the only thing he's able to do is 2 wounds onto my scraplings from his magic. So, oh, he didn't move the steam tank because there is a cannon over here, so he wanted to keep it safe. I make the field DT back off, position everything like here. The cannon will be shooting at one of his buff wagons and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, I'm making sure I can shoot his wizard. I move up the tribesman. Why did I move the tribesman? To threaten the crossbow. So I was like thinking that maybe I'll be able to charge it. Maybe he'll back off or something like that. Just pose a little bit threat. Make sure that the cavalry I can see them also. I try to cast Arrogant number 1 phase, which is not that great for me. I cast the Pyro Flow onto Militia on double 6. It's like, yeah, go ahead. I cast 6, go 4 wounds on the militias. Put the attribute also, because at this point I was like, let's try to get rid of those militias to deprive him of the chaffing unit. And in the retrospect, I think I should have probably been putting my magic in the crossbows, because since neither of them have really armor saves, so probably it will be magic more well spent. But it's like I need to deal with them also somehow, and at this point I chose there. I think the next time if I play this list, I'll be putting it more onto the crossbows, since I can charge the militias with like things like bombardiers, and kill them. So anyhow, he stops in my next spells. Now I think I get still a fireball on them. I do 1 wound from the bombardiers, cannon misses. The Viper's Curse and the crossbow, I get the militias down to 3. That's very manageable level. Catapult misfires. The cannon hits, wounds, and he ward saves the cannon, I believe, or misses. I don't remember what happened over there. I think he ward saves it. Alright. So he moves up everything, and it's like he moves it up very aggressively. Orders, where are we at? Okay, we're at the shooting phase already. So what did he do with the magic? He went Quicksilver Lash against my cannon, and he did 3 or 4 wounds to it. He does 4 wounds to it with a single. No, never mind. So he shot me with the cannon, and we decided that he can't see the cannon because it's not elevated. So we translated those wounds later onto the catapult. He basically shots off those bombardiers, puts 4 wounds on the catapult. I think I stop his magic altogether. He fails to do anything meaningful with it. So okay, so this is where we are at, and I decided that I'll be moving backwards. So I can take the charge as Cavalier, especially since he doesn't have rank. He's 3x2, and I'm like, oh, that's way too close for my comfort to be around those Imperial Guards. He does also a bunch of wounds over here to those bombardiers because I moved them out. No, I think the magic then. No, yeah, because they were to move outside of the cover. So I'm backing them off also. I can't go fully into cover. I'm trying to get rid of those militias. And I'm able to get bubble flaming swords off. And with the bubble flaming swords off, I don't do shit. I missed with catapults. I don't do anything with no catapult. I think miss. This is turn 2. So why did I even go for the catapult? Ah, this catapult, second catapult doesn't misses everything. Bombardiers don't do. I think they do a couple of wounds over here. Catapult misses, and in his turn he charged the scrappings. I actually stand and shot the militia, and I killed them instead and shot. He was like, "What?" Well, there was very bizarre moment. I wasn't too afraid of that. It just took away his whole end of chaff. So yay me, 2 rounds of magic shooting, and I killed the end of chaff. So he's moving. He moved up. He has a secondary. He pushed everything forward. Okay, so this is where he gets the Quicksilver Lash. Does 4 wounds with it. I didn't expect that. I expected like 1 or 2 wounds on it. He's like, nah, 4. And then he finished it off with touch. I tried to stop it. I rolled double 1. I got my dice back, but he killed the cannon. I passed the leadership check. So 1 cannon is dead. The catapult has 4 wounds on it. Things are not looking up. He pushed the steam tank also this time, so maybe I'll be able to put some wounds on it. Right? His cannon actually missed this time, and here we are. So in my turn, this is the situation. In my turn, I decided that he gave me some interesting opportunity over here, because he gave me a charge onto those southern board guys. I'm like, I'll charge and then I'll overrun into the rear of his army, and I'll be actually in the good place. I'm not sure if I'll win necessarily against the prelate, but I'll be in the very annoying point, and if I get in over here, I'll buff the crap out of this unit, so maybe I'll be able to go for the prelate over there. And so he charged, he fled, he failed his panic check, so he flees from the closest unit with his buff wagon, and that was a mistake. I told him that's wrong, and he goes there. So then I'm checking if I could charge this guy, the wizard, and I could because he could close the doors to me. But I decided that's too far away. And at this point I decided that, you know what, if I'm gonna be losing the unit because those are so far away now, I might as well try to get rid of as much as I can of those flagellants. There is no counter charge possibility, and who knows, maybe I'll win the combat. I'll probably win the combat, and he'll hit me back. He'll have like 24 attacks with battle focus, and he'll hit me on 4s, winning me on 3s. So he'll do damage, solid damage to me, but I'll win the combat, and maybe the 2 units will grind themselves down. Because I'll have impact hits, a lot of attacks, and then I'll have stomp. I think I can deal with this unit, at least make them cancel each other, which would be points well spent, right? Not really, because guess what happened? I failed. I rolled like 1 and 2, no, 2 and 3, and I needed, I think, 6, and so I failed it. So I moved over here, and I'm like, well, haha, great, this is not looking good again. So I get the bubble flaming swords again. No, do I get the bubble flaming swords again? No, I don't. But I am able to, I think I hit him with a catapult this time. So I did some wounds to the Imperial Guard, cannon did 2 wounds to the steam tank, 3 wounds actually. Then did bombardiers, did couple more wounds to the Imperial Guard. I also, it's of course the Imperial Guard is chuffed. I buffed the crap out of this unit. I put a hereditary spell and +1 to hit. Because I'm taking front and flank charges, right? So it's like, well, let's make sure that I can survive that. And do as much damage back as possible. So here's what happened. He charges with the cavalry. He passes his frenzy with Imperial Guard, he passes with flagellants, and he has a flank charge that I didn't see from the sword and board guys, but he needs 15, so he needs a 10 with his order for extra movement, and he rallies everything. So he gets the cavalry, he moves forward, he fails the sword and board guys. He fails the charge. I'm like, I could have fled for cavalry, but I wasn't able to fit over here. Or did he pass, or did he fail to get there? I don't remember. I think he failed. I think he decided not to charge. Oh no, he decided to charge, I think, but he failed to get there. Anyhow, they end up over here. So whatever the reason was, he ended up there. And he reshuffles things around. Shoots at the catapult, doesn't get to kill it, shoots at the bombardiers, I think he doesn't get to do much. His cannon shoots at my cannon, fails. And what killed? And his steam tank shoots at the... he gets wounds from Quicksilver Lash, he gets another 3 wounds? Or 4 wounds on it, so basically it's down to 1 wound and he finishes off. And then we go through combat. And here is what happens. I failed the leadership. I have a 9 steadfast, and he did 9 full unit. I don't think he did anything. I didn't do anything to him. He has a charge flank. I have and banner, and I lose by 1. I have rank in the banner, and I lose I fail my steadfast. I rolled 11 and 11. I flee 8 inches. I go within the. He fails to catch me. I go within 1 inch of the Imperial Guards. I have to jump through. And so we go through, jumping through the Imperial Guard. I take a bunch of DTs over here. Oh. And I take a bunch of. Oh my gosh. I might take more DTs over here through swordsman. I take DTs through the tank, and then I take DTs through the house. Boom. There is my unit of tribesmen. This is what 6 cavalry unit charged to a flank did to them. At this point, this is the Sunday. You can see actually the date over here. I'm like, I have to practice, saving points at this point. So I'm gonna be sticking through this game and trying to get whatever I can. I failed to rally the tribesmen. I charge the swordsman, and I charge him because if I get a flank charge, I can overrun behind his Imperial Guard into the crossbows, and he flees. And in retrospect, I should have charged the Imperial Guard, but I decided to go after steam tank. The same reason. I'll get in there, I'll mow them down, right? Charging the Imperial Guard has a problem with the counter charge from flagellants if I don't overrun far enough and the angling. But I think that even though he has arcane shield, he's distracting. I think I should have charged over here. Now that I'm thinking about it, that was a mistake. I charged the tank, which I needed a 10 to get on the Swift Stride, and I failed. And so now I'm giving front and the flank charge. So I failed, so I'm gonna be buffing up the unit because he's gonna be trying to get in here. And I'm trying to still chip wounds on from the shooting. Oh, I chuffed his Imperial Guard, that's why I did it. Okay, so I'm casting the Pyro Flow on the crossbows, trying to limit damage that they will do. And between the shooting and everything, I try to put the attribute on the wizard. He saves, I put a fireball. He stabs it. And that's it. So I guess the guys there he at some point he healed the same times before. I didn't realize that watch point, but he healed Dash of the Heart, healed 1 wound. So he charges the chaff, and he charged the Cavalier in the flank because he realized that I didn't chaff well enough, and that he could overrun into the block. So here we are. He's trying to do the strength buff. I denied it. He's doing the Ice and Fire on the cannon. I let it go, and then he's trying to shoot off the other cannon, and he fails to do it. So his cannon is able to shoot off my cannon. His steam tank tries to finish off my catapult, and he fails to do it. So he doesn't get any buffs on. And I should have buffed this unit. I didn't buff because I went for, as you said, I said I'm going to buff it, but I went for damage spells. And I find myself in this situation. He has distracting, but I have Liger's tank, and I challenge him with my champion. Because at this point his characters are both fighting my Great Khan, so if I challenged with it, no, I challenged, yeah, challenged with the champion, and then decide the Great Khan will try to murderize the characters. I'm able to only do 2 wounds, though he armor saves like a boss. But then he doesn't do very well at attacking me with the cavalry so far in the challenge. Oh, that's a challenge actually. So he does 2 wounds to me, but I do 2 wounds back to him with my 4 attacks with Great Weapon and a Stomp. And then my Wizard goes and the BSB, and I don't get very many Breath Weapon. I think I get the 1 wound from the Breath Weapon. And we're still fighting. I think I went after the unit in the end of the general. But this is where we end up. I kill only 6 Imperial Guard and a cavalry unit, and now then I discovered that, oh no, he touched this field, and I didn't forget to about the DTs, and then I forgot that he doesn't have parry, so I was hitting him wrong with my BSB, but that doesn't matter much. I pass my steadfast, and he reforms. I cannot reform, and then I decided that my only chance is to counter charge. So you have to have charge flank and try to kill the Imperial Guard unit. So I do it. I failed to rally with a tribesman. And I get a flaming swords off for +1 to wound, bubble flaming swords. And in the combat, I do a lot of impact hits. It takes a while, but I did a 2 wounds, I think, from the impact hits. He killed the bombardier. He doesn't. Nothing happens in the challenge, and I killed the whole unit of Imperial Guards. And he doesn't do much back to me. He fails his leadership. I pursue with both. I end up being there and there. So I put also my cat over here, so he would have to be he'll be frenzy baited to it. I guess his steam tank broke last turn. This guy failed his panic check when the general and the VSP died. He fled over here. Those guys passed, so here we are. I pursued. I caught them. I moved far up, and at this point it's like 5th turn, so he charges me with on the flank with his Pope Mobile in the front of the catapult with the sword and board guys, and he charges the cat, and I decided to might as well stand because it's so far that in the turn that his last turn he won't be able to get it. You know, I mean there is no reason to flee. I thought I have to flee because that would direct his flagellants into the flank, but instead of fleeing, I decided to stand because it's either way last turn, so he may not get there or he may not kill the cat and things like that. He rallies the wizard. No, the wizard doesn't rally actually. The wizard flees and he charges in the steam tank also the random move forward, and he gets the bounce spell for having flaming attacks because I have a 2-up flaming wards, and I thought, well, if I stop all the other bounce spells and I'll let him have flaming attacks, I'll challenge with I'll let him have all the other buffs, and I'll challenge him with the wizard, and I have a 2-up against all of his attacks, right? There is a mistake with my thinking though. But we'll have to move to those. This video was split into 2. So we're gonna be finishing it up over here. He actually does 3 wounds because you know why? Because when you're putting that the unit gets flaming attacks, it doesn't the flaming attacks don't count towards impact hits. So when I challenged him with a wizard, he did 3 wounds to me from the impact hits on force, healing me on force. And yeah, and I failed to save any of them. So this is where we are at, and my Great Khan is over here. Actually, this was BSB over here, so my Great Khan was over here, and my Great Khan decided to. This is what he does from his attacks. I don't do very much to his wizard. I don't think it do anything at all. But my Great Khan killed his tank. Between the Great Khan and the Bruiser, the tank dies. He passes. I turn around to face him. We go the combat with the catapult. He's only me on 6s. He wins the combat because I do only 1 wound, and he overruns and catches it. And he kills the chaff. Actually, no, he didn't catch it. He overran he failed to catch it. The catapult went over here, and he cannot charge it because even though he won with the cat, because he'll go off the board first. And in the challenge, The Trident failed to rally, and they fell off the board. I get a Flaming Swords off, and +1 to hit. And I failed to do anything, and I think at this point I went and I changed we did the score. It ended up being 7-13 for Jolo, and I went back, I think, to the matrix, and basically later on I changed my Empire matrix to a 10. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and all that, and peace.